Maya Collins had heard a lot of strange things working as an executive assistant, but nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared her for the words her boss whispered that cold December evening. "Pretend to be my fiancé, just for 2 weeks." Maya froze, her fingers still hovering over her keyboard. Had she heard him right? Elias Blackwell. Her boss. The elusive 35-year-old millionaire CEO known for his flawless suits, cold eyes, and an emotional distance that could freeze oceans, stood behind her desk, jaw tight, shoulders tense. He was the kind of man people said yes to before he even finished asking. But this. She blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" Elias inhaled sharply, as if saying it again physically pained him. "I need a fake fiancé tonight. You're the only one I trust." Those last words, "you're the only one I trust," would echo in her mind for weeks, but in that moment they only made her heart thump loudly in her chest. She stared at him, trying to read the face she had worked beside for 2 years. A man who never smiled. A man who avoided personal questions like they were landmines. A man who kept a wall around himself, so high even sunlight couldn't climb over it. Elias Blackwell didn't trust anyone. "So why me?" she finally whispered. He swallowed hard. "Because you won't ask questions." She didn't know whether to feel insulted or honored. The car ride to the gala was silent except for the soft hum of the engine. Maya's mind raced with all the possible reasons her boss could need a fake fiancé. Legal trouble. A corporate merger. A jealous ex. A publicity stunt. None of them seemed to fit the man beside her. Elias sat stiffly, staring out the tinted window, shadows flickering across his chiseled face. His jaw clenched every few seconds like he was fighting off a memory. "You're shaking," he murmured without looking at her. She hadn't realized she was. "This is a lot," she admitted. His eyes softened barely, but enough for her to notice. "I won't let anything happen to you tonight," he said. "Just follow my lead." She nodded, even though she had no idea what she was walking into. When they entered the ballroom, dozens of heads turned, conversations paused, cameras flashed. Elias Blackwell never brought dates. Ever. Now he was holding Maya's waist like she belonged there. He leaned down, whispering against her ear, "Stay close. Don't leave my side." The warmth of his breath sent a strange shiver through her. Before she could respond, a sharp female voice cut through the room. Well, Elias Blackwell brought a date." Maya turned to see a woman in a glittering silver gown, older, elegant, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Mother," Elias said stiffly. "Mother." "I didn't know you were engaged," Mrs. Blackwell said, eyeing Maya with clear disdain. "Or is this another temporary phase of yours?" Maya's stomach dropped. Elias' grip tightened on her waist. "She's not temporary," he said sharply. Then, to Maya's shock, he laced their fingers together. The room fell silent. His mother smirked. "Well, congratulations then, but you know how this family works, Elias. When you lie, the truth has a way of destroying everyone around you." Maya felt him stiffen beside her. Something dark flickered behind his eyes. That was the first time she sensed it. Elias was hiding something. Something deep. Something dangerous. Maya smiled when Mrs. Blackwell finally turned away, but her pulse was racing. Elias didn't loosen his grip until they were safely across the ballroom, near a quiet corner beside a marble column. "You okay?" he asked quietly. She nodded, even though her chest still felt tight. "Your mother doesn't seem very welcoming." "That's her being polite," he said flatly. She glanced at him, surprised by the bitterness in his tone. Elias Blackwell was never bitter. He was controlled, calculated, untouchable. Yet right now, there was something raw beneath the surface. Guests approached them in waves. Business partners, investors, old family acquaintances. Each time, Elias introduced her with the same words. "This is my fiancée, Maya." Every time he said it, something strange happened. His voice softened, just slightly, enough that Maya felt it vibrate through her. She played her role carefully, smiling, answering questions, laughing when expected. But there was one thing she couldn't fake. The way her heart jumped every time Elias' hand brushed hers. An hour into the event, Elias leaned close again. "We need to dance." Her eyes widened. "Dance?" "Yes, if we don't, people will start asking questions." Before she could protest, he guided her onto the floor. The music was slow, elegant, the kind meant for couples who knew each other far too well. His hand settled at her lower back. Hesitant, controlled. She rested her hand on his shoulder, acutely aware of how warm he felt beneath the tailored suit. "You're doing well," he murmured. "You don't sound very convinced." A corner of his mouth twitched. "I'm not used to trusting anyone this close." The honesty caught her off guard. They swayed gently, the world blurring around them. For a moment it almost felt real. Too real. Then she noticed it. The way Elias flinched when a photographer's flash went off nearby. The way his jaw locked. The way his breathing changed, sharp, uneven. "Elias," she whispered. He didn't answer. His eyes were distant now, fixed on something only he could see. Suddenly, he stepped back. "I need air." He released her hand and walked toward the balcony, shoulders tense. Maya hesitated only a second before following him. Cold night air wrapped around them as Elias gripped the railing, knuckles white. "I'm sorry," he said without turning. "This was a mistake." "No," Maya replied softly. "Something's wrong. What happened back there?" Silence. Then slowly he spoke. "My last engagement ended here, at this exact gala." Maya's breath caught. She leaked company information, destroyed a merger, disappeared with another man. His voice was calm, but she could hear the fracture beneath it. "I found out the same night. I was supposed to announce our wedding date." "That's awful," Maya whispered. "I trusted her," he said. "That was my mistake." Maya stepped closer, not touching him, just present. "So now you don't trust anyone?" He exhaled sharply. "I trust systems, contracts, control." "And tonight?" she asked. "Tonight I needed to look normal," he replied. "Stable, engaged, uncomplicated." The word stung more than she expected. "Uncomplicated," she repeated. "I didn't mean," he stopped himself. "You deserve honesty. This is business." She nodded, even though her chest tightened. "Then let's finish the job," she said quietly. 2 weeks, I'll play my part." Elias turned to her then, really looking at her. "I won't let this hurt you," he said firmly. She smiled faintly. That's reassuring, coming from the man who just admitted he doesn't trust people. For the first time that night, he laughed, a soft, surprised sound like it escaped before he could stop it. When they returned inside, his mother was waiting. Mrs. Blackwell's gaze flicked between them. "You seem tense, Elias," she said smoothly. "Old memories." Elias straightened instantly. "My fiancée and I were just discussing wedding dates." Maya nearly choked, but she recovered fast. "Yes," she said sweetly. "We want something intimate, no media." Mrs. Blackwell's smile sharpened. "We'll see," she said. "This family doesn't do private." As she walked away, Maya leaned toward Elias. "You're adding details now." He murmured back, "Improvisation is part of survival." That word again. Survival. Maya was beginning to realize this arrangement wasn't just a lie. It was armor. Later that night, as the car pulled away from the venue, exhaustion settled over Maya. Her heels were killing her. Her head was spinning. Elias broke the silence. "You didn't have to follow me onto the balcony." She shrugged. "You looked like you needed someone." He studied her in the dim light. That's dangerous. For who? She asked. For me, he said quietly. The admission hung between them. When the car stopped outside her apartment, she reached for the door, but his voice stopped her. Maya. She turned. Thank you, he said, for tonight. She smiled gently. 2 weeks, remember? Yes, he replied. But something in his eyes said he already knew this wasn't going to be that simple. The next morning, Maya woke up convinced the entire night had been a dream. The gala. The dance. The word fiancé whispered like it meant something. But her phone buzzed on the nightstand, pulling her back to reality. Elias. Car will pick you up at 9. We need to finalize details. Details. She sighed, rolled out of bed, and reminded herself this was temporary. 2 weeks. That was it. No feelings, no complications. She told herself that all the way through her shower. She told herself that while getting dressed. She told herself that as the sleek black car pulled up outside her apartment. And yet, her heart still beat a little faster when she saw Elias waiting inside. His penthouse office was quiet, bathed in morning light. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, but Elias stood with his back to them, arms crossed, expression unreadable. We need ground rules, he said. Maya nodded, agreed. He turned professional again, controlled. No public arguments, no personal questions from you or anyone else. If the media asks, we met through mutual contacts. Engagement happened quickly. Because you fell madly in love, she asked lightly. His jaw tightened, because it was convenient. She felt the sting but hid it well. And outside of public appearances, she asked. Elias hesitated. You'll stay at the guest suite here. It looks more believable. Her eyes widened. Live here. For 2 weeks, he said quickly. You'll have privacy. She considered it. It made sense. Too much sense. Fine, she said, but one rule from me. He lifted a brow. No lying to each other, she said. Not real lies. If something affects this arrangement, I deserve the truth. He studied her for a long moment. Agreed, he said finally. Neither of them noticed how fragile that promise already was. The days blurred together. Interviews. Charity meetings. Press appearances. Everywhere they went, cameras followed. Headlines exploded. Millionaire CEO secretly engaged. Who is Maya Collins? Elias BLACKWL's mystery fiancé. Maya learned how to smile until her cheeks ached, how to rest her hand naturally on Elias' arm, how to laugh softly when he leaned in to whisper something harmless that sounded intimate enough for the cameras. At night, they retreated to opposite sides of the penthouse. Separate lives. Shared illusion. Until one night, the illusion cracked. Maya woke to shouting. A sharp, broken sound ripped through the silence. No, stop, get away from me. She bolted upright, heart racing. The sound was coming from Elias' room. She didn't think, she ran. When she opened the door, she froze. Elias sat on the edge of the bed, drenched in sweat, hands shaking, eyes wide but unfocused, trapped somewhere far away. Elias, she whispered. He flinched violently. Don't touch me, he snapped, then stopped, realizing it was her. His breathing was ragged, uneven. I'm sorry, he said hoarsely. I didn't mean. She moved slowly, sitting a few feet away. You were dreaming. He laughed bitterly. I don't dream. She waited. Minutes passed before he spoke again. My father used to lock me in dark rooms when I disappointed him, he said flatly. Hours, sometimes overnight. Maya's chest tightened. He said fear builds discipline. Her voice was barely audible. That's abuse. Yes, Elias said, but he built this company. People admired him. No one questioned it. Maya swallowed. So you learned control, she said, because it kept you safe. He nodded once. That's my secret, he said quietly, the one thing no one can know. She met his gaze. I know now. Silence stretched between them, heavy, vulnerable, real. You should leave, he said. She shook her head. You're not alone, she replied softly. For the first time, Elias didn't argue. After that night, everything changed. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. Just quietly. Elias checked on her more often. Maya lingered longer in shared spaces. Their conversations deepened. And one evening, while reviewing a charity speech, their hands brushed. Neither pulled away. The kiss happened without planning, without logic. Soft, hesitant, real. The moment it ended, Elias stepped back like he'd been burned. This can't happen, he said sharply. Maya nodded, heart pounding. I know. But they both knew something else too. The lie was no longer the most dangerous part of this arrangement. The truth was, the days that followed were heavy with unspoken tension. They avoided the kiss. Not because it didn't matter, but because it mattered too much. Maya focused on her work, burying herself in schedules and appearances. Elias returned to his armor of professionalism, though cracks appeared when he thought she wasn't looking. 2 days later, the truth came crashing down. It happened during a charity board meeting. Maya was seated beside Elias when his phone buzzed repeatedly. He ignored it until the color drained from his face. She glanced at the screen. Unknown caller, 12 missed calls. Then a message appeared. You can't hide forever. Elias stood abruptly. We need to leave, he said, voice tight. In the elevator, Maya finally spoke. Who was that? He didn't answer. The car ride was silent, suffocating. When they reached the penthouse, Elias locked the door behind them, his movements sharp and controlled. Elias, Maya said carefully, you promised no real lies. He closed his eyes. There's something you need to know, he said quietly. Something that will end this, whatever this is. Her heart pounded. My father didn't just abuse me, he continued. He ruined people, careers, lives. And when I took over the company, I uncovered evidence, illegal deals, bribery, crimes that could destroy everything. Maya's breath caught. I planned to expose it all, quietly, but someone found out. Who? My former fiancée, he said flatly. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was working for my father's associates. When I ended things, she disappeared and took copies of the evidence. Maya's blood ran cold. That's why she betrayed you. Yes, and now she's back. He met her eyes. And she knows you're pretending. Fear crawled up Maya's spine. She'll use you to get to me, Elias said. That's why this ends now. He stepped back, putting distance between them. You need to leave tonight. Maya stared at him. You don't get to decide that for me, she said quietly. This is dangerous. So is living in fear, she shot back. You didn't ask me to pretend because I was convenient. You asked because you trusted me. His jaw tightened. That was a mistake. No, she said firmly. Pushing people away is the mistake. She took a step closer. You're not your father, and you don't have to face this alone. For a moment, Elias looked like he might break. Then his walls slammed back into place. I won't risk you, he said, not again. Her chest ached. Then risk yourself, she whispered, but don't erase me. Silence. Finally, Elias turned away. I'll have the car take you home. Maya swallowed, nodding. 2 weeks, she said softly. We didn't even make it that far. The car ride felt endless. Maya stared out the window, tears blurring the city lights. She told herself this was for the best. She told herself that all the way home. 3 days passed. No calls. No messages. No Elias. Until her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello? Maya, Elias said, his voice strained. I need help. Her heart skipped. She has the evidence, he continued. She's threatening to release it publicly, and she wants you present when she does. Maya's fear flared, then settled into resolve. Send me the address, she said. Maya. You trusted me once, she cut in. Do it again. A pause. Then I will. She hung up, heart racing. This was no longer pretend. This was real. The address Elias sent led Maya to a private penthouse on the other side of the city. Security was tight, but her name was already on the list. That alone told her how carefully this had been planned. The elevator ride felt endless. Her reflection in the mirrored walls looked calm, but her heart was pounding. When the doors opened, a woman stood waiting. Elegant, cold, familiar. Elias' former fiancée. So, the woman said with a slow smile, You're the replacement. Maya straightened. I'm here to listen. The woman laughed softly. Good, because Elias won't. She gestured to a folder on the table. Everything his father ever did. Proof, names, transactions, and one little detail that could put Elias in prison too, unless he cooperates. Maya's breath caught. You're lying. The woman leaned closer. Ask him how much he knew. Ask him how long he stayed silent. Maya didn't argue. She recorded everything, every word, every threat, her phone hidden in her jacket. What do you want? Maya asked. A public apology, the woman replied. And control. I release the evidence unless Elias hands me a controlling stake in the company. And if he refuses? The woman smiled. Then I destroy him. Elias arrived minutes later, tension radiating from him. Maya, you shouldn't be here, he said sharply. I should, she replied, because I know the truth now. She turned to the woman. You don't want justice, Maya said. You want power. The woman's eyes narrowed. And you want to play hero. No, Maya said calmly. I want to end this. She looked at Elias. You exposed your father's crimes, she said. You just did it quietly, but silence isn't guilt. Elias swallowed hard. I was afraid, he admitted. Maya reached for his hand. Fear doesn't make you evil, it makes you human. She turned back to the woman. You threatened the wrong people, Maya said evenly, because everything you just said has been recorded. The woman's smile vanished. You wouldn't. I already did. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Elias stared at Maya in disbelief. You called the police. I called the authorities, she said, and a journalist who doesn't answer to your father's money. The woman backed away, fury flashing across her face. You think this ends well for you? Maya met her gaze. It ends with the truth. The fallout was massive. Elias' father's empire collapsed within weeks. Investigations spread. Arrests followed. Elias stepped down temporarily, but his integrity stood. He had faced the truth. Publicly. And survived it. Weeks later, Maya stood on the same balcony where everything had begun. The city lights glowed softly. Elias joined her, no suit this time, no armor. I was wrong, he said quietly, about control, about trust. She turned to him. I know. He took a breath. This started as a lie, he continued, but what I feel for you is the most honest thing in my life. He knelt. Not for cameras. Not for business. For her. Will you be my fiancé? He asked, for real. Tears filled her eyes. Yes, she whispered, yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger, hands steady, eyes full. This time there were no secrets. Only truth. Only choice. Only love.